Taffy's new year was getting to go on a road trip to Auckland as her welcome to 2024 gift. No, she was actually a really good co-pilot. She only threw out once when I was driving. I don't think it reflects on my driving though. We'll blame the road and the weather conditions. But we were actually going up to get Bug. Previously known as Buddy, he was found wandering a random street. We couldn't find his people or where he came from, so he's mine now. But that means his history is a mystery. We think he's about 5, going off his teeth, so I haven't had a really close look just off a photo we took. Thanks to Jamie and everyone else involved in his care and upkeep until I could get him, and especially to Jamie, and I know Tamsin helped a lot as well with getting him to thank people or friends. It made loading him and getting him a lot easier than it could have been. We only had a day and a bit to get him. Ideally we would have got him on voluntarily. You can see us trying in these videos. We got to a point where he'd put all 4 feet on the ramp, head in the truck, and offering 1 foot in the truck as well. Sadly we had to leave by the next day, so the next day we got him on using pressure and release, which I was going to talk through how we did that, because he didn't actually have really any leading experience that we know of, and we were still able to do it with just the halter and lead without escalating the pressure to extremes. The thing I'm remembering is that this is not a battle. Even though I'm making him do something that he finds really stressful and scary, I want to keep his stress and fear levels as low as possible. So that means if he's trying to bolt across to the other side of the paddock, I de-escalate or I let him go, even if that means releasing when he hasn't given me the answer I'm looking for. That means we've just asked too much too soon, and I need to make it easier for him. In making them load, the biggest reinforcer we can give them is the relief of leaving the truck. So that means when he does a huge try, it doesn't even have to be a huge try, just a good try, or a new personal best, I'm like, cool, we can chill here, and then we're just going to leave, we're going to walk away. And then he goes, okay. To get the human to stop harassing me, I actually go to just the edge of my comfort zone within the truck and the ramp, and then I leave, and that builds his confidence. Also very careful about applying pressure on the ramp or inside the truck, because that's often when we have accidents because they freak out and rush off. So if they're coming up and they decide they want to leave, that's all good. It's just as soon as they get to the bottom on the ground, I'm like, hey, can we please come back up again? And then if they do a try that I'm happy with, I'm like, okay, cool, we can turn around and leave now and leave really far away from the float. So that's how I actually loaded him the day after these clips were taken. Just went in the truck. Obviously it's really scary. He has to figure out turning around and it's enclosed. He wanted out. He was running out a lot faster than I could keep up with, so I just let go of his lead and he ran off with the lead around his legs, but hey, that's okay. It was actually a really big reinforcer for him, right? He got what he wanted when he was in the truck, which was to run away. And then when I got him back, he was really easy to catch, and guess what? He loaded really quickly into the truck the next time, and then the same thing happened. We did that a few more times, and then he was loading and he's like, I no longer need to run away because I know that I'm allowed to if I need to. Traveling them, I like to have shavings down. It acts like kitty litter and absorbs any pee and poo to help it stop being slippery. Then also have lots of food available for them, so that's hay, baleage, forage that they can chew on, and preferably in a position where they can eat with their head down. He also travelled with 3.5 spaces, so that meant he could stand whichever way he wanted to, and that is also means when the ramp goes up and he got a fright because he's not used to it, right, he's spun around in circles, rather than if he had been in one space he would have been likely to go through or over or hurt himself. And then we travelled a couple of hours and got Pearl. So Pearl is a KHH Kai. Some of her stories are on KHH's Facebook page if you wish to see it, but she's had of a rough start to domestication. KHH have done a great job of rehabilitating her and literally saving her life. She's coming to me to learn that people are friends, hopefully, at least that's the plan. I drank it all. I'll get you some more, okay? So her and Bug had never met each other, and we stayed the night there, and they went in together, and literally 10 minutes after meeting they were sharing from the same feed bucket. So it seemed to be just meant to be, and sometimes horses just click, and lucky for me these two did. So we stopped every 2 to 2.5 hours for half an hour to give them a water break, and check they were doing okay. And we also have a camera which we were checking as they travelled. They literally stayed how they were in those videos basically the whole way, like no moving, just a couple of steps forwards and back. So this is fresh water, just mixed in with feed to try and get them to drink it. They're in there. Hey guys, I'm coming in. Hi. It's okay. And I got all their hay. Hi. You like some more water? Hi, I know. Hang on. You like some more? you'll see my awesome planning skills, not realizing that in the 2 years, or it's almost been 2 years since the last kites have arrived, the trees have grown an awful lot, meaning when we backed the truck up to the yards, I couldn't get the ramp down. And that involved some Pearl and Bug just stayed in the truck with their food, and it only took about 15-20 minutes, but there was some bush bashing and dodgy soaring skills. There's one more there. So yeah, we just stand out the way of the ramp, and then no pressure on them. They can come out whenever they like. You'll see Bug came out really happily and quietly, like he'd done it a million times actually. He's like, cool. He's like, I know what I'm doing. You can see she was shaking, but just letting her go at her own pace, and she got there. She's just testing that it's safe and secure for her to get down, and then she joins Bug. And then also you have to remember, in a new environment which has never been in before, and they've been stuck in their little world of the truck and the road noise and everything for about 7 hours, I think 7 or 8 hours, I can't remember. And Apollo was the welcoming committee because he's Apollo. And they settled in very quickly. Bug had his halter on, which was annoying me because I really wanted the halter off. But I just left them for the first couple of hours to drink water and eat and settle in. And then I was like to Bug, do you remember me? And do you have enough forgiveness in your heart to let me take your halter off despite the fact we forced you into the truck? And you weren't the happiest about leading, but you tolerated it. And when I say he wasn't the happiest about leading, he did it, and by most people's standards he would have been leading well, but you could tell he didn't want to lead. So there's a difference between tolerance and voluntary enthusiasm, and we're going for enthusiastic, cooperation and friendship with them, so we're just in protected contact to help him feel safe, and also he's tired, it's been a long day, I don't want to push any of his buttons, and I was just holding my hand up. He slightly moves towards my hand, and he gets fed, and we were able to just very slowly, one little step at a time, undo his halter, and you can see he got a little fright when it came off, but he was really good with it. And this is just in 2 times speed, so you can see how he's looking back at his halter. This was their first session after being here like 4 or 5 days. Pearl, you can see, I was actually surprised she wanted to engage with me. She doesn't know me as well as Bug does. So I was just throwing food on the ground. You can see she didn't know I was throwing it on the ground, so I'm like, hey, you can have it out of my hand if you want. But she was quite nervous and stressed and didn't want to eat it out of my hand. So I'm like, okay, well, here's some more. You can have some more on the ground. I'm just letting her see at the moment if she wants to eat from my hand. I'm like, okay, no, she clearly doesn't. You can see that head away. And I'm like, okay, have it on the ground. And then with Bug here, where I'm trying to teach him to move back. He obviously is training with Pearl, which it isn't ideal, but I'm going, can we please take a step backwards? You can see he's a little bit frustrated, and I wouldn't want him more frustrated than this. I'm pushing him a bit here, but I'm a scientist, and sometimes I like to push buttons to see what happens. And I'm like, okay, you can have some food anyway. Pearl's coming closer. Pearl gets food on the ground for coming closer, and she's still learning to look for it. And Bug's also going, Pearl's here, I don't want her to steal my food, and also I don't know what you're asking of me. So you can see he's like, I'm really lost and confused. I'm not escalating, but I am pushing a little bit, but then you can say, yeah, he's like, I'm leaving the situation, and he doesn't get in trouble for that. I'm just like, yeah, have a free bit, we'll bring your emotions back down, and then just here, you'll see he suddenly gets it, and you can see Pearl's out the way. We've also changed position, and just by giving him that freebie of, you're all good, he's suddenly like, oh, okay, I can get food, and I'm feeling safer, and I've got it. And then we just did some forwards and backwards of targeting, and being rewarded back away, so that I'm just teaching him that I like my personal space, because I'm also in the paddock with him, not over protected contact, and we have Pearl. And you think he was actually getting it really well, which I was very impressed with. Pearl is just cleaning up the crumbs in the background. So me and Bug are just hanging out together, and the reason I'm in with both of them is Pearl's getting a lot of confidence from Bug, and even though I would normally separate them to train them, I feel pretty safe around Bug and Pearl, and I wouldn't be in with them if I didn't feel safe, by the way. Can jump over the fence if I need to. But I'm just hanging out with Bug and letting Pearl see me around Bug and going, you get food if you come hang out with us, and good things happen. And then we're doing a little bit of leading practice with Bug, which is just you get rewarded for following me, and I'm still practicing that stepping away backwards because that's still a new behaviour for me and him together. And then if Pearl does decide to come over, Bug just gets fed for Pearl's close to you, you get food, and that helps prevent resource guarding. Where Pearl gets food, you get food, so then he's learning I don't miss out, and also teaching him you stand away from me when Pearl's here, just so that I'm not being squished by two horses. And Pearl, you can see, is learning that the food comes on the ground. She's getting quicker and quicker each time I throw the food on the ground at finding it. And if she misses it, I just throw her some more on the ground. And then we're just hanging out here, and Pearl gets food for looking at me, basically, and I'm like, you can have some on the ground. I'm not offering it by hand because I don't think she's used to that yet, and you can see the couple of times I do try, she sniffs it but doesn't eat it, so we're trying not to get her stressed and anxious about eating it from my hand, and I'm like, you just get it for being close to me. And Bug's just practicing hanging out and being a horse with me. And that was literally all we did our first session. And they've already come a long way since here watching this. I've got heaps of things to update, but this is all we're going to have for now.